I was scanning across the various cable news networks, and I came across this particular clip, which I thought was relevant and really interesting. The election is one thing, but the Republicans, who have a habit of eating their own, are going to have a very serious issue. And their quote-unquote savior, Paul Ryan, made an announcement today that he's planning on running for the Speaker of the House position. I don't know if that's going to fly. And the reason that I don't think that it's going to fly is because Paul Ryan, in his own words, said he didn't really need this crap. And it's my belief that the conservative bloc of the Republican Party is going to try to stage a revolt against Paul Ryan. Now that's going to be interesting, because if Paul tells them to shove it and changes his mind as far as not running for the Speaker of the House, who is going to get this position? Is it going to be Chavis out of, I believe he's out of Utah? Is it going to be one of the Republican House members out of Texas? I don't think they would go so far as giving it to an East Coast style Republican. But anyway, check out this particular clip. And that nut from Iowa, Steve King, is going to come on here, but he's going to basically spill the beans as far as the requirements that are going to be laid out in order to get that Speaker of the House job. And one of them is blocking any type of immigration reform. Here we go.
Today, House Speaker Paul Ryan formally announced he is going to run again for Speaker. Now, 3 times yesterday, Ryan's supposed friend, Indiana Governor Mike Pence, and Mr. Trump's running mate, begged off answering whether he supported Ryan to run for re-election for Speaker.
And that means that he doesn't support his supposed friend Paul Ryan for Speaker of the House, because Pence more than likely has his eye on running for the presidency in 2020, more than likely against Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz again.
On the 4th time, Pence came around and said yes, but members of the more rebellious Freedom Caucus, well, they might not feel the same way. Senior political reporter Manu Raju has been working his sources on the Hill for us. And Manu, this conservative bloc of House Republicans now want Ryan to agree to preconditions before they commit to back him?
Yeah, that's right, Jake. We actually have surveyed the entire 40-member House Freedom Caucus, and very few are willing to say at this point if they will support Ryan for Speaker, including the leadership of the Conservative Freedom Caucus. That includes Jim Jordan of Ohio, Mick Mulvaney of South Carolina, and Mark Meadows of North Carolina. Now, Jake, earlier this week there was a private meeting at Meadows' apartment in D.C. where they talked about the way forward, and I am told at that meeting the conservatives talked about urging Ryan to give them assurances that the rank and file would have even more power and influence in the next Congress. Now, I'm also told that there are members who are not part of the Freedom Caucus, and they are Trump supporters, and they believe the Speaker has undercut their party's nominee by saying he wouldn't defend Trump. And those members may not be willing to back Ryan again. Now, one member who voted against Ryan last time, that's Dave Bratt of Virginia, told me Ryan would have to commit to a range of policy ideas before he'd even consider voting for him. Now, this is all significant, Jake, because every vote will count. If the Republicans keep the majority, there will be a smaller majority, fewer moderates, a more emboldened conservative wing, and Ryan will need every vote on the floor to get the 218 he needs to be reelected Speaker, Jake.
Fascinating. And we should note that Ryan is campaigning with Mike Pence this weekend, which seems odd in some ways, Manu, given that it did take Pence 4 times before he said that he does want Ryan to remain as Speaker.
Yeah, and also odd because Ryan himself said that he could no longer campaign with Donald Trump. But really what they're there for, Jake, is to campaign for Ron Johnson, who's the Wisconsin senator who was left for dead months ago, but now within striking distance of winning his Senate re-election, which would almost ensure the Republican keeps the majority if that were to happen. But Jake, both Pence and Ryan trying to show some unity after weeks of discord within their party. Jake.
Fascinating. Manu Raju, thank you so much. Joining me now, Republican Congressman from Iowa, Steve King. Congressman King joins us from Des Moines. Thanks so much for coming in today. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Jake. I appreciate it.
So let me ask you, Congressman, will you back Paul Ryan in his bid to continue serving as Speaker of the House?
Well, I don't know the answer to that yet. I believe I enjoy a good friendship and working relationship with Paul Ryan. I've had some success.
So you mean that you enjoy a good friendship, so you can't decide to back your friend? Yeah, that's with friends like that, who needs enemies? That's like swimming around with a bunch of sharks, and the sharks claim that you're cool, but first sign of any issue, and all the sharks turn on the other sharks. Yeah, right.
Doing business with him. He's a person I like to work with. And we'll see how this unfolds. I think it makes a difference whether it's Hillary Clinton or whether it's Donald Trump that comes in as president of the United States, and what kind of an agenda Trump might push that could cause friction within the conference, or what kind of an agenda might be pushed by a Hillary Clinton. Now, for example, Paul Ryan signed a letter before he was elected Speaker that he wouldn't bring, I will call it an amnesty bill, before the House of Representatives as long as Barack Obama is president. Now, if he's willing to substitute Barack...
Yeah, see, I love that. So translation, no matter what Obama wanted to do, these guys were going to be against it. And now they're trying to extend it as far as Clinton is concerned. And that's the same situation as far as picking a Supreme Court justice. You know, that was a bullshit story, reason that they gave that Obama couldn't nominate someone that they would give a hearing to. Because he was in his quote-unquote last year of his presidency. Just excuses that a toddler could see through.
Obama for any other president within that commitment, that helps me get closer to being fully supportive of Paul Ryan.
Are there other people talking about running for Speaker that you're interested in hearing more from?
I'm not hearing that, and some of that dialogue was taking place nearly 2 years ago as we built up to that time that John Boehner was challenged on the floor. I'm not hearing names right now, but I think too that having a meeting to plan what you will do after the election, it's hard to do that with the contingencies. I would say instead, we're going to know Tuesday night. If you want to have a meeting on Wednesday morning, Thursday, go ahead and do that, and then plan your strategy. It's a lot easier to see the path to follow with clarity when you know the results of the election. And I think, too, that with Paul Ryan, when he announced that he wouldn't go out and campaign for Trump or wouldn't defend him any longer, that press, that call that he made that he knew would go out to the press was the morning after debate number 2, when Donald Trump had a great night the night before.
Donald Trump did not have a great night at the second debate. He got his ass kicked, and all these Republicans love spinning, actually lying about how well Trump did during the debates. Donald Trump lost all 3 debates, period. He lost all 3, but to hear the Republicans talk about it, they claim that he won all 3. So, you get what you pay for with these guys.
I don't know that he considered Trump's great debate night before he made his announcement at 9 o'clock the next morning. This is one of those similar circumstances, only the onus isn't on Paul Ryan this time. The onus is on others that may be making a commitment before they know the results of the election. And I just don't think we process very well in hypotheticals.
Well, you, after that Access Hollywood video came out in which Donald Trump bragged about being able to get away with grabbing women by their genitals, Ryan came forward. He said he could no longer defend Trump. And you said at the time that Ryan was dividing the Republican Party. Do you still feel that way?
Well, that event did divide the party, and it gave members of Congress and candidates and Republicans license to walk back or away from Trump. And that was actually part of the directions that were made there. And I believe from well before that day, and I believe to this day, that we are joined at the hip with our nominee. You can't separate yourself from the nominee. If you're the Republican Party or the Democrat Party, for that matter, you're joined at the hip. So
No, you're not joined at the hip, because when you have an avowed racist, misogynist, xenophobe, if you want to join yourself at the hip, that means that you are accepting everything that they stand for. So if you want to join yourself at the hip to a person of that low moral character, you know, obviously that's up to you. But people of good conscience damn sure have to make a decision whether it's America first, morality first, or the party first. And you, Steve King, are one of those guys that basically subscribe to the party first, last, and always.
Thing you can do is support your candidate, lift your candidate up, and in doing so, that lifts up the House races and the Senate races. And I think that was a political miscalculation, and we'll see how this works on Tuesday night. But I've seen the pattern of this before enough to be convinced that, you know, as I said, we're joined at the hip. We're going to have to ride with our nominee, and I'd rather be riding with Donald Trump than I would Hillary Clinton right now, Jake.
Congressman Steve King of Ohio, of Iowa, thank you so much. Really appreciate it, sir.
Yeah, I wish more of the Republicans had taken his viewpoint and joined themselves at Trump's hit, because they damn sure would have been voted out of office, which is hopefully what's going to happen, especially in the Senate.